Live. What's going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for coming in or tuning in. Really appreciate it. Anybody watching this on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So great win. That's what you want to see, right? Like, started off a little rocky. Could have been better, particularly in the first half. But I like that the Lakers continued to battle, continued to play the right way. Bear with me 1 second. 1 second. Sorry about that. Sorry, I had an important phone call that I was waiting on. Buddy of mine, I needed to take it real quick. Sorry. I know not what you guys were expecting, but diving into it. So, yeah, not first half in particular. Not what you wanted, not what you really expect from the Lakers as far as energy goes. Toronto coming out, really. I mean, every team's trying to beat the Lakers, right? It's how it goes. Every team wants to beat the Lakers. Every team has to beat the Lakers. But for the Lakers to kind of third quarter, especially towards the back half of that third quarter, really put it together, really fight, really kind of close out, and then just run away from it. It's what you want to see from this team, right? You don't want to see the games where it's that back and forth struggle. You're the better team. You're at home. Handle business. Get the win. Carry it out, right? So I really liked what we saw from this team. Hopefully Anthony Davis is back. I don't think that there was really a need to put him back in. So I understand why they kept him out this game, right? Because we got the reports after when the Lakers were up like 15 that he wasn't going to return. Why return? Why have him return at that point? You got the momentum. You built the momentum without him. All right, so just keep playing the right way, get the win, let him rest up, let him get his eye together, because he took a pretty mean one, right, with the offhand. Surprised that wasn't an offensive foul, but nonetheless, he took it like a champ, and so I hopefully AD's back for the next game, right? We got two? Don't we have like 2 days? Is it after the next game? We get like 3 days off. I know we have. So what? The 12th. Lakers play. Yeah, so I think we do. I think the Lakers play on is it the 13th? Yeah, they play Memphis. So Lakers have a few days off, which is good. So that'll allow the Lakers to rest AD up, right? So that way, hopefully, he can be right and ready to go for that Memphis game. Stay unbeaten at home before you go on that road trip. So definitely need that win. But I really like D'Lo off the bench, right? Once again, another game in which D'Lo off the bench gave us 15 points, right? Which is crazy considering, and he was a plus 18, which is really surprising. But D'Lo, his just playmaking ability, his scoring is just much more needed, right? For a team that was averaging 20 points per game off the bench to add a 15-point a game scorer, right? To 15 to 20 point a game score because he gave you 18 the other night, right? Like that just changes this team so much. And then Cam Reddish, like I've said it, if Cam Reddish can just give us the scoring that he's given us, right? Around 8 to 10 points a game, gave us 11, right? If he can just be in that like 8 to 10 range, just being a slasher, cutter, off-ball guy, knock down the occasional three, is 1 for 3 from three. You're not expecting him to be lights out from three-point range. So as long as he can give you a 3 or 2 or 2 threes, you're fine. You're good. You're in good shape. So I thought he's been brilliant. I really like what we've gotten from Cam Reddish on the defensive side, playing both sides of the basketball. Austin Reeves, really, I love the aggression from Austin Reeves. I love how he kept attacking the closeouts. His shot wasn't falling, and instead of just jacking up, he decided to put the ball on the deck, especially late, attack those closeouts with some aggression, and got a bunch of and ones. You'll love to see it. That's what I talked about. I really like from Austin Reeves this year, that he is being more aggressive. I would like a little more consistency shooting the three ball, but when your shot's not falling, don't just settle, right? Put the ball on the deck, attack, get to the basket. And yeah, look, our bench is still not great, right? D'Lo helps a ton. Once again, I hope that when we get Christian Wood back, I'm hoping that Christian Wood kind of balances things out with D'Lo, right? So now you have like 2 15 to 20 point a game guys. So hopefully when he gets back, he can kind of right things and get things back in order. But anyway, let's dive into the chat, answer all your regular questions, super chat questions, all that stuff. Like I said, I'm still sick, still like fighting, struggling. So I'll go as long as I can. But just keep that in mind. If I have like last time I was like 40 minutes in, I was just like, oh, I can't do this no more. So try to fight through as much as I can for you guys. So is it me, or does it feel like teams hit AD in the eye intentionally? It really does feel that way at times, right? It really does. Feels like teams are just looking for an opportunity to just clobber Anthony Davis. I agree. I think LeBron wanted his triple-double, right? Like, I think that's what it was. I would rather LeBron get the rest and sit on the bench. But I do agree. We've talked about this before, right? Like, it'd be nice to see, when we have a sizable lead that we're not going to lose in 3 minutes, take them out. All right. The Lakers are 2-0 with Cam Reddish as starter. Yes. And they stay unbeaten at home, which you love. I hate it here in Milwaukee. Sorry, Prince. Your baby daddy is wanted you. Are you worried about the AD injury? Not yet, right? I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to overreact, right? Obviously, it's not a good thing, right? Obviously, getting hit in the eye is never good. Put on some goggles. But, he's got, 3 days? We got 3 days in between before the next game. So, we don't play again until the 13th. So get right, get yourself right, do what you got to do, and then let's get stuff together. We need Levine ASAP. I'm with you. It's not even funny. Levine, Dorian Finney-Smith with Reeves off the bench would be insane. I'm right there with you. I've been the biggest Zach LaVine advocate I think this world has ever seen. If I see Pelinka in real life, I'm taking one for the team. Great win. I can't help but notice Porto would be perfect for the Lakers. Maybe go after him and Boucher. I would like Boucher. Jakob Poeltl, I like him. He's just making like $20 million, right? And he's just not worth, he's nice, but he's not worth $20 million in my opinion. And I don't see, the problem is if you go get a $20 million center, you kind of have this need to start him. If you could get him as an add-on in the Bruce Brown deal or something, to me, Jakob Poeltl's break glass in case of emergency, right? If all else fails, go get Jakob Poeltl. I would rather just go get Valanciunas than Jakob Poeltl, just because I think that they both give you similar things. It's just one's 20 million, one guy's 10 million. So just you have more flexibility to do other things. Let's see, 6-4, gotta love it. The win is all that matters. Yes, facts. Absolute facts. Gabe, Max, Jalen Trufino, got to go for Dennis and Dorian Finney-Smith. I am with it. If the Lakers can pull that off, let's get it. AD and Bron getting beat the F up every game. Yeah, facts. We still badly need a center and reliable 3 and D. Our backcourt and Rui melts during matchups. Good teams. Yeah. Look, I love Rui Hachimura. We got to trade him. We really do. He's making $17 million, and he doesn't fit on this team. I would love to see. He needs to be a 4. He needs to play the 4. And as long as LeBron's on this team, he's never going to be able to play the 4. And to me, I look at him as just you can turn him. There's a team that is going to value Rui Hachimura. There's a team that needs, again, the Nets is a team that could really use, they have a bunch of skinny 3 and D forwards. They don't have that bruising power forward, right? There you go. There's Rui Hachimura. Give us, one of your forwards. We'll give you a big bruiser for. I don't know. Like I like Rui, but he's playing out of position and he's just not capable of playing that position. Can't defend out on the perimeter. He doesn't rebound well enough. He was rebounding well to start the season, but that's kind of trickled off. Right? It's just he doesn't have the foot speed to chase down loose balls and just do the things we need out there on the perimeter. And I just think you got to turn him into whatever, Jeremy Grant, a Cam Johnson, a Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Like you got to turn him into somebody that can play both sides, somebody that can play both sides of the ball and just be better defensively. Even if you don't get as good of offensive production, if you get somebody that can just defend, right, and you're just better defensively, then that that kind of puts it all together. Levine, Reeves, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron, and AD. I'm with it. They need to get Levine ASAP. I am right there with you. Any word on AD yet? Not yet. Not that I've seen. We probably won't get like an update till tomorrow. Let's see. Sorry, trying to find something to me. We need Wood back or another center so badly. They keep asking AD to do way too much. Yeah, I really do think Christian Wood has the potential to solve a lot of the Lakers' problems, right? I don't want it to come off as like, oh, Christian Wood, now the Lakers are the best team in the league. Oh, now Lakers are this, that, and the other. But no, I mean, he's more skilled. He's the closest thing we have to another Anthony Davis. And obviously, I'm not talking about skill set. Anthony Davis is MVP level. Anthony Davis is just otherworldly. But with Christian Wood, you can run the pick and pop. You can run the pick and roll. You can have him on the block and dump the ball down to him, and he can get to work. He can stretch the floor and knock down the three ball. You can do those dribble handoffs with him at the top of the key. And if they leave him, you just easy bounce back. Boom. Now you're punishing the opposing defense, right? Like you don't get that with Jackson Hayes. You don't get that with these other guys, right? You have to completely change how you're operating your offense because Jackson Hayes is just essentially just a floor running big man. Which is fine at times, but I like him more as like our third big. Also, Christian Wood just gives us offensive production off the bench, right? Something we just don't have right now outside of D'Lo, right? I'm glad to see Dalton Connect finally hit a three. You even saw him. He was like, finally, like, thank you. So hopefully he can start getting into a better rhythm. Hopefully he can get in better consistency. But I give kudos to Max Christie for that three, but we did better without him. Max Christie is like hardly, like he only played, a minute and a half? He just played the garbage time. He's kind of fallen out of the rotation period, which I'm not going to lie, I would rather Max Christie than Gabe Vincent stinking up the joint. I mean, Gabe Vincent's like decision making. Like Gabe Vincent's just been bad, man. Like just watching Gabe Vincent play is infuriating. Like, I know he hit a three and gave you a nice dribble drive finally, but like, he gives you nothing else. Like literally nothing else. And like, he's not scoring enough to offset it. If you're telling me both, like Max Christie and Gabe Vincent both are giving you nothing offensively, both give you similarities defensively, but at least Max is bigger and a better rebounder. He helps with the rebounding. I'd rather play Max Christie. And the upside with Max Christie is just better than Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent's 28 years old. We already know what Gabe Vincent is, right? Like, I would rather take the chance on Max Christie kind of figuring some stuff out and kind of getting over those humps. And then all of a sudden, maybe he becomes a serviceable offensive player, right? Rather than just killing all his confidence by taking him out. Let's see. Funny Darko loves to cry about the refs, but got every call and we're hacking. Yeah, dude, they took like nearly as many free throws as D'Lo becoming the sixth man has been a great adjustment. Yeah, agreed. Well, and especially because he's bought into it, right? Like, which you got to give D'Lo credit, right? I know, like in the past, like D'Lo has not been great, but he said in the offseason that he's gonna do more for the team. He's gonna be more professional. He's gonna do whatever it takes, right? Like, and he's doing it. Right? Like, as critical as we can be of D'Lo, the fact that he's bought in and he's played that role is huge for this team. It's a huge adjustment because in previous years, his production just tanks. In previous years, he's been bad off the bench. For him to come in and play good and play very good off the bench and consistently off the bench and not out, you're not getting the cryptic tweet. You're not getting the the D'Lo sitting on the bench all pouty and upset, right? Like the fact that he's actually been out there and been productive and helping this team win. I love it. You gotta give him credit for that because that opens up so much for this team and him. Yeah, Raptors coaches. Yeah, might have to give up 2 firsts for Kessler soon, and better grab Levine in AO2. Look, I don't think you can get if you get Levine and Io, sure, right? Like then at that point, who cares? Like, yeah, give up the first for Kessler. But unless you can get something like that, I think you gotta be patient on the Kessler. But yeah, I really like if the reports are true, which came from Joe Cali, who is not a Laker guy, Chicago guy, that the Bulls would consider attaching Io to. He also said Kobe White, but they're reluctant on Kobe. Like you'd have to give up like something significant for Kobe White, but Io is kind of the odd man out that they may be willing to attach him in a deal to unload Zach LaVine or Vucevic is what the report was. So hopefully that if the Lakers can do that, but also what do they want, right? Are they willing to give up Io, but they want a first? Like, do they want 2 firsts? Do they want, like what is the asking price if they include Io? Right? If it's like, hey, like I would give up a pick swap if you want a couple seconds, sure. Right. But I'm not giving up. Like you're still taking a huge risk and a ton of salary off of Chicago's books by taking Zach LaVine. As big as I am on Zach LaVine, there still is his contract issues and there are still his injury issues, which I think are overblown. I think a lot of people blow them out of proportion, but we can't pretend like they don't exist, right? Like you can't pretend like, like Zach LaVine has just been this excellent model of health, right? Like there are concerns, there are risks involved with LaVine, and you're doing Chicago a huge service, right? You're clearing off, like, I mean, they'd have to take Rui and Gabe Vincent. They only have 1 more year on their contract, right? So you're essentially saving Chicago like an extra $80 million, right? That has value in and of itself, right? And then so if you told me like we could get LaVine and Io for whatever, Gabe, Rui, D'Lo, Vando, and then like a pick swap, sure. Move it on over. And then go trade for Walker Kessler and let's go win an NBA championship. You might need to wear an eye patch or goggles. Filler episodes. Let's see. At this point, give this man AD some goggles, man. Yeah, facts. All these hits that I are annoying. I agree. LeBronto. His name is LeBronto for a reason. Poking people's eyes again. I don't think Kessler's worth 2 firsts either. Look, he's still a project. I like him a lot. I would love to have him, but he's still a project, right? He's not like the perfect guy. He's an excellent rim protector, but he can be inconsistent too, right? Like there's still a lot of things that Walker Kessler needs to grow and develop on, right? He's not like the cure-all for the Lakers. Like if he was the cure-all for the Lakers, then I'd be like, yeah, trade whatever you got to go get him. The reason I like Walker Kessler is because he is a guy that can make an impact now. He gives you that rim protection, especially when Anthony Davis goes to the bench or if he takes the night off or whatever. But it's also a guy that can help now and the future, right? Now you got your center of the future, which you're probably looking to get at some point with those draft picks anyway. So to me, it's like now Kessler, you can spend the next 2 years or however LeBron sticks around getting Kessler right, getting Kessler to get ready to be your guy alongside Anthony Davis. And then when LeBron rides off in the sunset, you just move AD to the 4, insert Kessler into the 5, and boom, you still now you got your front court, and then you're figuring stuff out from there. But yeah, I don't think he's worth 2 firsts as much as I like him. Yeah, 2 days off. Just throw about anything else in the deal, and I'll drop 2. Next is Memphis. Yep. Play on Wednesday. Yep. Great win. Just need to keep it up. Yeah, facts. Got to keep winning. Got to keep pulling these out. Got to win on the road, though. All right? Got to win on the road. That's the problem. I love that the Lakers are undefeated. I do at home, right? I love that. You got to be able to win at home, right? You want to be able to protect home court, but you got to be able to win on the road, right? And so far, we've won one game on the road against this very team. Vucevic makes too much, and the man is garbage. I'm not really big on Vu, if I'm being honest, as well. Like I wouldn't hate it if the like if you told me like the Lakers signed him, like I wouldn't be or traded for him, I wouldn't be furious. But like I'd rather go get Valanciunas. Valanciunas gives you like all the same stuff, and he's half the price, right? So like I would just rather get Valanciunas personally. Thoughts on Cam? I think Cam has been perfect. Like perfect for the role we asking for him. He's been perfect. Right? We're not looking for him to be this like lights out 50% 3-point shooter. We're looking for him to bring energy and bring effort on a nightly basis. We're looking for him to just be a menace out there defensively, chip in whatever you can on the offensive side, right? Can you give us 8 to 10 points a game, which he has been, right? And then just helping rebound and keeping balls alive and all that stuff. And again, he gave you 6 rebounds, right? Like the guy's averaging 6 rebounds a game for you. Oh, no, not this game. It was last game he gave you 6 rebounds. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong. Where's he at? There we go. Gave you 2 rebounds. But in general, point is, like the last 2 games, he gave you like 5 and then 6, if I'm not mistaken, right? But basically just being the dirty work guy out there, right? Give you the better balance out there. Move without the basketball, be a cutter. And I think he's been fantastic. I think he's done a really good job. Obviously, would I prefer a legit 3-and-D guy out there? Sure. Would I prefer like a Cam Johnson or something like that? Sure. But given the circumstances and given the situation, Cam has been about as good as you can ask him to be. That's what other teams should do. Try their best to beat every other team, including the Lakers. I hope that's the mindset of the Lakers players. Yeah, exactly. Got to show up. Got to show up nightly. Rui, D'Lo, and AR are all scorers. The problem is they're not consistent. That's the issue. Right. The reason a lot of people want Zach LaVine is because he's consistent. You know what you're going to get from him every night, even on a bad night. Right. He's still going to give you better efficiency than what these 3 give you. And he's still going to get you 15 to 20. Right. Like, but he's just a better scorer, better pure scorer. But it's not just him scoring. It's the athleticism. It's the defense. It's the rebounding. It's the playmaking. I mean, Zach LaVine averaging like 7 assists this season? It's more than just the score. Lakers need that consistent third scorer. They don't have that consistent. Yes, on some nights, Austin Reeves can be that. Yeah, on some nights, D'Lo can be that. On some nights, it can be somebody else. But the problem is that you never know who it's going to be, and that's the concern. That's the concern this season. So Zach LaVine this season is averaging 22 points. He's averaging a steal, half a block, 3.3 assists, 5 rebounds. He's shooting 81% from the free throw line, 43.5% from 3-point range, and 50.5% from 2-point range. Let me pull up because I want to pull up the advanced real quick. Give me a second. This is one I want. Here we go. He is averaging 7.6 attempts from 3-point range this season. And he's shooting, like I said, 43.4% from 3-point range. Imagine having that with the Lakers on that type of volume, that type of efficiency. And he's shooting 57.7% from 2-point range. He's shooting 50.5% overall from the field. He is shooting nearly 60% from 2-point range. Like, he has an EFG of 61.4%. Like, the guy's doing everything out there. The guy is literally doing everything out there. If we could have that, and he doesn't even necessarily need to give you 22 a game. If he just gave you like 17 a game, like clockwork, right? Because you're also would be asking him, he'd be taking on a different role. Although you could argue he even scores more because, he's playing that's what the Lakers would be looking for him to do. But let's see. AR should be traded for LaVine. I don't care what you have to do to get LaVine. I just think you should get LaVine. We should target Baji and Bruce Brown when he is healthy. They are bench guys. In Toronto, consider quickly Dick, RJ, Scotty, and Jakob Poeltl will be their lineup. Abaji, I like his game. Also, Rui clock is up. Yeah, I would love Abaji. I don't think that they would trade him. If they will, like, lock that up. He's shooting 71% from the strong side corner and 42% from the weak side. Whew. Let's see. Yeah, we need to talk about Rui. It's nasty. Yeah, he just look again. I love Rui. He's just out of position, and he's never going to be able to be in position as long as LeBron's on the team, right? And you're not getting rid of LeBron, so I just think you got to get rid of Rui Hachimura because he's never going to be able to slide over and play the four, which is his natural position. That's his best position. It's where he can be the most utilized defensively. It's where he can rebound better. He just doesn't have the athleticism, the foot speed, the quickness, the agility, the lateral movement to be at least a serviceable defender. He's just getting blown by and he's out of position, and it's just it's tough. And he never passes the basketball ever, right? When he touches the basketball, he's shooting it. Cam Reddish making an impact. Yeah, you got to love it. But Zach LaVine is a one-dimensional player. Not at all. I don't know where you heard that from. Here, let me just so you don't take my word for it. Let's pull up his history. The first thing that comes up is, according to the numbers, LaVine isn't as bad of a defender as many fans believe him to be. But he isn't one of the best in the league either. Zach LaVine has a rating of 114.6 on the season, which is pretty much around a league average this year. League average is 115.5 so far this season. But let's not just look at this season. What has he done in previous seasons? So, that's this season. I don't want just this season. So, just to further my point that Zach LaVine has been is better. Here we go, year by year. So Zach LaVine this season has a defensive rating of 114.3. Now let's see. He has 117.8, which isn't great, but D'Lo and Reeves were like a 120, weren't they? The previous year, 2022 and 2023, he was a 114.7. League average that year was a 116, so he's better than league average. Zach LaVine in 2021-2022 was a 116.1, which was at league average. 2020-2021, he was a 113.5. League average is 115. Zach LaVine was 110.4. League average was 114.4 that season. And then now you're getting into his early years. So he is basically a 114, 115 is what his defensive rating is on a year-to-year basis. D'Angelo Russell is terrible. So I'm not even going to look him up, but let's look up Austin Reeves' defensive rating, who he is. So Zach LaVine has a better defensive rating right now. Austin Reeves at home this season is a 114.8 defensive rating. Zach LaVine is still better overall. And that's just his home defensive rating. His defensive rating overall is 117.3. And he's been our second best defensive player on the season. But here, let's bring this up. This is overall. I just want to prove the point because I get this a lot. People are like, Zach LaVine's a terrible defender. He's not. He's actually around league average or better on league average. And he's never had an Anthony Davis to help him clean stuff up. So 2020, that's 2023. 2023, he was a 117. I want year to year. Come on, where's the year to year? Yeah, so he has a 117.1 this season, but let's go year to year. Here we go. So he had last year a 118 117.3, 116.2. So last year was a 118. All right. So D'Lo was a 119. Like, again, Zach LaVine is not a bad defense player. He is every year, he's either around league average or he's better. Like, so it's not even like a poor defensive thing. Like, Zach LaVine is fine. And he's just a better natural scorer than all of them. Lonzo Ball is cheap at I don't know, 20 million is cheap. And Lonzo Ball can't stay healthy. As much as I like Lonzo Ball, unfortunately, the guy can't stay healthy. I love AD, but Bulls will not make a deal with Lakers without AD. They're desperate to get off of Zach LaVine. Literally, it's not even just like Laker reports. Because I see a lot of Bulls fans, like anytime I make a video about it, that are like, oh, of course the Lakers, like, go listen to your own reporters. Like, I'm not talking about Laker reporters. Like, literally, a Chicago reporter made a review or made a report like 2 days ago that they would include Io just to get off of Zach LaVine. There was talks in the offseason that they'd give up a first, and then they changed their mind because they're, a rebuilding team. They're tanking, right? Like, they just want to get off of Zach LaVine's contract. Him and Vucevic, they're like desperate to get off. Let's see. D'Lo coming off the bench. Yeah, it's nice. Just grab Io, LaVine, and Kessler. I am right there with that. Rui to bench start. Dalton isn't ready to start. I like Dalton, but he's not ready to start. And unfortunately, the problem is right now you don't really have anyone else, right? Like, if Vando was healthy and at his peak and he was the best version of Vando that we have seen before, I would actually move Rui to the bench and then go with D'Lo, Reeves, Vando, LeBron, and AD. Because that even last year was our best starting five. It's just, for whatever reason, Darvin Ham refused to play that unit. Because Vando just covers so much ground, like more ground than Cam Reddish. But as of right now, you're kind of stuck, right? Like, you don't really have many other options, and LeBron's not going to want to move over and play the three. So it's not like you could bring in like a Christian Wood when he's healthy, or go with Hayes, and you kind of don't really have any other options. Sexton and D'Lo will get you 30 combined off the bench. Yeah. Cam Johnson's hooping this season. I'm down for that. Yeah, Cam Johnson would be solid. Let's see. Let's see. Don't offer Vu and LaVine both having all-star numbers in trades if you want to win. Don't offer Vu. Well, I'm assuming that's somebody else. AD will be fine. And yeah, Lakers need a center. I trust AD to figure it out and bounce back. I believe he'll be all right. A coworker really tried to say that Russell Westbrook is better than D'Lo. Not right now, no. Westbrook's ceiling when he's when he's able to turn back the clock for a game here and there, yeah, but overall, no. Hopefully they get rid of Gabe. What's going on, Jay? First off, but yeah, hopefully they get rid of Gabe. Let's see. Shout out to Cam, though, staying ready, FX. We have so many useless players. Braun and AD going to be burnt by the end of the season, EFX. That's why you got to get something done, hopefully sooner rather than later. Cam fitting in low-key, yeah. He's, like I said, he's been great for what we need him to do. Let's see. Does this guy still have max? Absolutely. He's a 21-year-old kid who hasn't had a chance. He was already supposed to have this season out the way. I'm not saying he's not untradeable, but let's see. Who the F is going to take Gabe off our hands? Nobody. I wish we had Dennis still. I don't care what y'all say. If Gabe is going to get traded, it's one of two things. It's either A, they're hoping that him being a playoff performer kicks in. Supposedly Milwaukee is actually interested in Gabe Vincent because they just need some defense at the guard position and a point of attack guy. But it probably goes one of two ways. Either A, team is hoping that he can kind of, figure some stuff out, play a different role than on the Lakers. Right? We've seen a lot of guys play on the Lakers and be terrible, and then go to other teams and are great. Right? So that's one of the hopes. The other side of it would be a team like Chicago, where it's okay, we could either pay Gabe Vincent $11 million for one more year, or we could pay Zach LaVine $40 to $50 million over the next 3 years, right? That's what it is. Gabe Vincent would be more likely than not an add-on to help a team get off of a salary. So you're adding Gabe Vincent and D'Lo, and it's okay, D'Lo gets us $18.5 million off the books, and then Gabe Vincent becomes an expiring contract next season that we could either trade, or we can just let him fall off the books and we got another $11 million clear, right? So it'll likely go to a team a team like Brooklyn might want him if they're gonna hit the reset button and start selling off guys, because they're also, if the rumors are true that Butler or Giannis might want to come next season, then getting a guy like Gabe Vincent, that's an $11 million expiring contract that now you can add to the pot to go and trade. So again, player for player wise, no, no one's going to be oh, we want Gabe Vincent over this guy. But not all trades are player for player, right? Most trades aren't player for player. It's why you see most trades, you're they really traded that guy for that guy? They got fleeced. But really, it's because there's a plan in place. Let's see. Efton picks Kessler and Sexton for Gabe, Jalen Schwino, and Max. That is all we need. I don't think that's all we need. I think we definitely need some point of. Problem is, Sexton is incredibly inconsistent defensively. He had a worse defensive rating last year than D'Angelo Russell, right? I'm not saying he can't. When he's focused and bought in defensively, he's actually very good. But it's just getting him bought in and focused. I do like the athleticism. I do like the point of attack. If we get Sexton and Kessler, and then go get either a Bruce Brown or a Cam Johnson or some Kyle Kuzma, some 3-and-D wing. Now I think we're a contender. Let's see. Thoughts on price for Nick Richards? Broken rib right now. A great fit later. He's not worth a first, but if you could get him in like a Rui style deal where it's 3 seconds or something like that, I would do that. I would have no problems doing that. And he's cheap too. He's $5 million, so you could get away with that type of trade. Bro, Rui is so bad. Lakers should bench him. Yeah, problem is, like I said, you don't have very many options. A project when you just said go get Kessler and let's win a chip, Tyler. You got me confused now, man. I'm talking about Kessler. I'm talking about getting LaVine, getting AO, and Kessler. And I said, let's go get a chip. Not just Kessler. I've never said Kessler by himself makes us a champion. I mean, go watch all the Kessler videos. I've said every time, he's not the cure-all. He's not the fix, but he's huge for the Lakers. Right? If Lakers get Walker Kessler right now by himself, that's not enough to win a championship. Are we better? Yes, absolutely. But the conversation was because I was talking and responding to a comment of LaVine, Ayo, and Kessler. Yes, if you could get that, now I believe you're a championship contender. Because now you got the athleticism, you got the point of attack defense, and Ayo. You got Ayo can go get you 15 on any given night, make plays. He can slot in 1 through 3. So now you got that proven go-to third scoring option. You got a legit double-double shot blocking big man off the bench that can slot in alongside Anthony Davis, bang with the big boys. And you got Ayo, who can be a point of attack, essentially 1 through 3. Hope that better clarified. But yes, Kessler is far from a finished product. The Hawks clearly said they want Jalen Hood-Schifino. He's a very good passer. Yeah, so supposedly Brooklyn, Brooklyn, Utah, and Atlanta want Jalen Hood-Schifino. Because, I mean, he's a young, cheap, expiring contract that was just drafted last year. Doesn't hurt. Worst case, you let him go. Best case is, maybe he becomes like Scottie Pippen Jr. on Memphis, let's see. Kessler can give you a double-double and 3 blocks per night, yeah. Yeah, if he was worth 2 first, he would have been gone already. Yeah. 2-0 LeBron James at point guard. Clearly want Jalen Richfino. Okay, would love to see it. Don't look like it's going to happen. Wasted a roster spot. He's not what we need or built for this team. Yeah, right now he's not. But no, again, he's still 21 years old. He's 21-year-old second-year player. You know, what some of these bad teams want him, right? And he's an expiring contract now. So again, he's talking about the reports where Utah is interested in him, Atlanta's just interested in him, and the Brooklyn Nets are interested in him. That came from, who was it, Jake Fisher? I think Jake Fisher was the one that let's see. Even Sexton. The problem with Sexton is he can be very inconsistent too. I like Sexton a lot. I think we need, like, Sexton and D'Lo are very comparable. The only difference that Sexton brings you is the athleticism and rim pressure, right? But I mean, you can make an argument D'Lo's the better player, but it's more so the longer term salary, right? So you're taking, like, by adding Sexton, you're clearing 19 extra million off of Utah's books. And that's not counting the new contract that Sexton or that Kessler is going to need. So Kessler needs a new contract, and Sexton makes another 19 and some change next season, right? Almost 20 million. So there's value in that, right? Like we're clearing off your books, and Lauri Markkanen is about to make a max next year, right? So you need to clear as much money as you can possibly, so that way you can kind of retool around Lauri Markkanen. If not injured, would be a great alternative. Yeah, the problem is you gotta wait now. You gotta wait for him to give back. Vucevic giving 20 and 10 rebounds per game. The problem is his liability on the defensive side, right? Like, the problem with Vucevic is he's a liability, right? Like, and again, he's making 20 million, right? Like, I don't mind it. Like I said, if the Lakers ended up landing Vucevic, like, fine, so be it. But he doesn't, like, you need the rim protect. Like, that's why Kessler makes so much sense, because when Anthony Davis goes to the bench, Vucevic isn't protecting the rim. Can he block shots on occasion? Sure. Right. If our players can funnel, like, if you can funnel the offensive player into Vu, he can clean it up. Problem is, we don't have those point of attack guys, right? They're just getting blown by. You need somebody like Kessler who can clean it up on an island by himself. And for the 20 and 10, like, again, you might as well go get Valanciunas, who can give you the same stat line, stretch the floor in a similar manner, but also is 10 million and would be more willing to come off the bench, right? Is Vucevic willing to come off the bench? Probably not, right? And he's making 20 million. So that's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard justification. Let's see. I disagree. Valanciunas in Washington, that's a backup. Valanciunas is more of a starter with better shooting. Yeah, but that's the problem. We don't need, like, adding, like, Vu coming in. They're not looking for a starter immediately, because LeBron has to play the 4. They're looking for a big man that can come off the bench and play a role. Like, Valanciunas makes more sense because he gives you similar production, but in a backup bench role. You said it yourself. Valanciunas in Washington, that's a backup, right? That's what the Lakers need. Lakers are looking for somebody to come in and fill in that role, right? LeBron's playing the 4, not because no coaches want to play him at the 3. It's because LeBron is best at the 4 at this stage of his career. So if you bring in Vu, you're stuck, right? You bring in Vucevic, right? Like, are you really going to bring a 20 million a year player off the bench and he got his salary, right? Where at least with Valanciunas, he's making half, right? I mean, literally his 3-year contract is the equivalent of, like, next year for Vu, right? Like, that's, or Vu. Oh shoot, I need to get my charger here. Let me see. All right, let me answer this. Best 75 and bench to have. You're talking about, like, currently that we have right now. If you're talking about what we have right now, I still like Austin Reeves off the bench, but they're running Reeves. They're running their offense more through Reeves, so fine, keep him in the starting unit. I mean, obviously a healthy Vando, right? Like, if you gave me, if Vando was healthy and 100%, I think you run D'Lo Reeves, Vandal, LeBron, and AD. Right? That was our best starting five last season. It just again was very limited because Darvin Ham never played it, and that's the unit that got you to the conference finals, which I believe can win a bunch of games here. Rui gets to come off the bench and can be immediately LeBron's backup and play his natural position at the four. And I think would just have a bigger impact. Problem is, again, it's just we're limited. Like until Christian Wood gets back, like you're limited off the bench because ideally, like you have like Rui and Wood swapping for Anthony Davis and LeBron, and now you have two offensive versatile weapons to kind of fill in for those two guys, and then you kind of sprinkle in Reeves and D'Lo, right? And then boom, there you go. All right, let me here. Give me 1 second. Let me go grab my charger real quick so my computer doesn't die. So give me 1 second. Perfect. Sorry about that. Just didn't want to have it die on y'all. No, I like that. Like Vucevic is solid without a doubt, but I just don't think he's what we need, right? Like there again, there's too much. Like Vucevic is great, but there's just a lot of just the fit is what I wonder. Um, let's see. Man, we need to start a petition for AD to require to wear goggles EFX. We got to win on the road because this was an issue last year. In order to win a championship, you have to win on the road. EFX. Look at the 2020 year, won on the road. Look at 2 years ago when we made the conference finals. Every matchup we won on the road until we didn't, and then we got swept. So, man, Rui looks horrible. Like I don't know what's going on with him, but he's got to step it up. Yeah, he's playing out of position. He's slotted out of position. That's the problem. We need Zach LaVine. I'm right there with you. And Gabe actually hit a three. Yeah, he actually did. He's still shooting 20% from the floor from 3-point range. Let's see. Let's talk value D'Lo and now Rui doesn't have any trade value. So who do you trade? So D'Lo's trade value isn't in the player. It's in his $18.5 million expiring contract. D'Lo's contract is going to be gold at the trade deadline. Gold. Man, you've already heard from pretty much every GM and executive in the league now at this point that players that were never going to get traded are going to start getting traded. Deals are going to get done. Expiring contracts are going to be more valuable, right? Because of the new CBA and the new restrictions. So now you're talking about like a situation where D'Lo having $18.5 million, right? Same thing I talked about like with Gabe Vincent earlier, right? Like Gabe Vincent, people aren't going to be like, oh man, like we really need Gabe Vincent. People are going to be looking at like, man, if we get Gabe Vincent and say like, a D'Angelo Russell, that's $18.5 million of expiring this season, and then only $11 million next season, as opposed to, say Jeremy Grant, where it's like we have to pay him 30 plus million every year for the next 4 years. It's about just being able to reset or cutting your cost. That's where the value is. Rui Hachimura has value in the same sense because, again, he only has $17 million next season, and then his contract's up. But also Rui, I think most people know he's slotted out of position. Like people aren't like organizations aren't dumb, right? They know what Rui still has one of the best 3-point percentages in the entire NBA, right? But teams understand and know that, like, hey, like he's out of position. It's rough. What does he look like here? You have teams that need a more sizable center. Just changes things. Let's see. Guys, I don't think Levine is what we need. I don't know. I'd love to hear your thought process behind that because I disagree. Um, Healthy, 100% Lonzo, why not? But this current Lonzo, no thanks. Yeah, if Lonzo was healthy, yeah, 100%. If like Lonzo, if we're talking Lonzo when he first got to Chicago, yeah, go get him. um, let's see. Uh, Levine or Trae Young, if you have a choice. I would. I like Trae, and Trae Young and Anthony Davis make all the sense in the world. All the sense in the world. Problem is, can Trae Young and LeBron coexist? That's my concern. That's my problem. Um, that's where the dilemma lies. Give me 1 second. I got to send this text. Sorry, I got a buddy who's in town. Um, all right, perfect. Sorry, it's important. I'm trying to coordinate some stuff. Um, the books are cooked. I wonder why. They said last season D Ham is not the problem. Yeah, they're just not. They just don't work. And look, you have. Hey, what's going on, Jay? You have two stars that just they don't want to. They don't want to. They don't care to get to know each other. They both said themselves, like it's like we didn't even work out this off season. Like we didn't care, but like it's just um again you got to you're looking at it from a player to player standpoint. Almost no trades are a player to player basis, right? Like almost none of them are, right? Like most trades have other reasoning behind them, trying to clear salary, right? Trying to, reshape the roster, right? Trying to take a chance on a guy, trying to get off a guy, toxic locker room guy, whatever. Organization doesn't want him, whatever, right? Like that's why most trades are incredibly lopsided, right? You look at most trades and it's like they traded him for these guys. Well, because there's a purpose, there's a point. You're looking at it as like D'Lo, Reeves, Rui, all these guys, they're booty, and no one's going to want to trade for him. But you're not looking at D'Lo's an expiring contract and has value. Now he's willing and accepting to come off the bench. As a starter, teams might not be interested in him, but as a six man who can provide playmaking and shoot the three ball off the bench, all of a sudden his price might skyrocket because again, teams might be like, hey, we could use a playmaker. We could use another offensive weapon off the bench. I mean, look at a team like Denver, right? That's why they keep getting Reggie Jackson and Russell Westbrook. Guys, if they know a guy like D'Lo is willing to come off the bench and play a role off the bench, all of a sudden he has more value, right? Like you're looking at it as just like a singular, like why would somebody want to trade, Giannis for Dame or Giannis for, D'Lo? No, it's not that. It's, team like Chicago has Zach LaVine, who they desperately want to get off of. He wants out. They want to get off of him. He's due another like 160 million over the next 3 years. They're a tanking team that wants to hit the reset button. No one else wants to take him. Why? Because of his contract, because of his injuries. And how many teams actually need a guy like Zach LaVine? Right? Like I hear all the time, people will be like, well, Zach LaVine, if he's so great, like why aren't other teams? Like which team needs a guy like Zach LaVine? All the good teams already have that guy, right? An athletic guard that can go get you buckets, right? And all the bad teams have a guy that they want to develop or growing into that. And they don't want to just take on Zach LaVine. And with the new CBA and restrictions, teams aren't as willing to just take on 40 million, right? You get a team like last year, Detroit was willing to take a chance on him, right? And try to get some assets out of the deal. Zach LaVine just didn't want to go to Detroit, right? Like, so again, you're not looking, you're looking at it through a peephole. You're looking at it from a very small perspective rather than the overall perspective of like why trades get done. Why would Chicago want D'Lo and Gabe Vincent and Rui Hachimura? Well, because one, Rui Hachimura actually makes a lot of sense in that spot, slotted in off the bench or in a starting role as your four. You could put him alongside Patrick Williams, boom. But D'Lo is an expiring $18.5 million that they get to clear off their books now to better position them for the future. Gabe Vincent, yes, is another 11 million, but next year is an expiring contract that they can trade, move to a contender. A team like Milwaukee is interested, so maybe they can reroute him, right? Again, there's so many possible outcome scenarios and reasons why teams make trades outside of like this player for that player. All right. I hope that better clarifies. I hope that helps you understand a little better. Let's see. Top 3 trades you want: Zach LaVine, Walker Kessler, and then one of like Dorian Finney-Smith. If you can get like some 3-and-D wing, I wouldn't even mind if they like added in Torrey. Like if you told me we got Walker Kessler, Torrey Craig, Io, and Zach LaVine, perfect. Let's do it. Let's see. Sorry, trying to find something to me real quick. Kessler is a great piece to take us up there. He would be nice. Celtics have a balance of scoring. Yeah. I mean, their team is ridiculous. There's a reason they won the championship last year, right? Whoever wants them, get them that. I get it. I feel it. Io is not shooting well this season. I don't want another mid-role player. Give me Dennis. Problem is like he more likely than not would be an add-on, and he's 24 years old, and he's a career. Like, I mean, last year he shot like 40%. Like, how much of it is just like a down slope, right? Like, look at D'Lo last year. D'Lo last year shot, what was it, 31% from three-point range, and then completely turned it around and ended up having a historic season. Also, he's going to be running a different system, a different role, different everything, right? Like, I would trust his career average will balance out, right? Like, don't get me wrong, you're not wrong, but also it's athleticism, it's point of attack, it's defense, and if he's kind of a throw on, I don't think you say no to that, right? Like, you're not trading for him straight up. You're getting him as an addition, right? You look at last season, right? This season, he's shooting an abysmal 21.7% from three-point range. Awful, without a doubt. But you look at last season, on 4 attempts, shot 40, almost 40.5% on 3.9 attempts, and averaged 12.2 points. Right? Like, again, he's playing a different role, got the log jam now, because you got to think they got Giddey and all these other guys now, right? Like, it's why they want to get off of him, and he's kind of the odd man out with this team, and they got to give Giddey a new contract, right? So it's just like it's tough position for them to be in. Trey, D'Lo, Rui, Gabe. That's a good chunk of money thrown, and JHS if you have to get. LeBron absolutely needs to play the 4. That's what. There's a reason why he's playing the 4. Like, he's not. Coaches aren't just having him play the 4 because they're like, oh, like it's because LeBron wants to play the 4. He does. Imagine there's a big difference between the 3 spot and the 4 spot in today's NBA, right? Most 4s are like 3s that shoot worse. Is essentially what it is, right? Like, look, even a guy like Aaron Gordon, right? He's like 30% on the weak side corner 3. He's like 41% on the strong side corner 3. So as long as he's on LeBron's side, he doesn't really have to worry about it, right? But LeBron, when he's playing the 4, he can play in that camp role. He can play in that free safety role. And he just kind of coasts, gets rebounds, right? He gets to take possessions off. You see it all the time. He just kind of like will take a defensive possession off entirely. Can't do that at the 3. You have so many responsibilities at 3. Not only are you defending quicker, twitchier, more athletic wings, but you're also responsible to defend the perimeter as a whole, help chase down loose balls, help chase down long rebounds, right? Like, you're putting so much wear and tear on LeBron. There's a reason he has to play the 4. The defensive matchups are usually easier. We're not in the days where, you had 2 7-foot guys that are just banging and big physical bruisers, right? Like, nowadays, most 4s are the size of LeBron or smaller, right? Like, that's why Dorian Finney-Smith is good for this team. He can play 3 or 4. Yes, agreed. Let's see. Good old chair stream. Yeah, of course, always. Good old chair stream. Rui needs to have a great game against Grizzlies. Tyler makes me sick with his positivity and always doing streams after games. What a butthead. I mean it. Yeah. Who doesn't? I would love Yakapurto. Yakapurto would be solid, but he's not my favorite. He's like bright glass in case of emergency. Let's see. Well, Lakers need a big Tyler. Look, 80 is out next game versus Memphis. It's going to be a long season for the Lakers. I don't know if he's out next game for Memphis. I don't think that they would announce that yet, but that's definitely concerning. Bruce Brown would be the third best player on our team. He came off the bench for them yet. Let's see. Let's see. I just call him. Oh, that's not to me. Sorry, trying to find something to me real quick. Maybe Dorian Finney-Smith, Dennis, Nick Richards, realistically trade ideas. Yeah, I wouldn't. Hey, like if you told me that's what we ended up with, I wouldn't be against that at all. I try to believe Rui was the most consistent out of D'Lo and AR and him. The reality is he's just one of them. Yeah, he is. Let's see. Tyrese is in the chat. Sorry, trying to find something to me in that Tyrese. D'Lo having a yes, it does. Same reason why the Lakers were able to trade Russell Westbrook because of his expiring contract. Expiring contracts have so much value, especially with the new CBA. You know how many teams are either close to the second apron or a first apron team or close to the first apron that want to reset, hit the reset button, right? Like, absolutely, expiring contracts have value, right? Like, I've never heard anybody go, expiring contracts don't have value. Ask any, don't even take my word for it. Go ask any just YouTuber, anybody that you can get in contact with. Ask them, do expiring contracts have value come the trade deadline? Hey, love trade videos, brother. Helps my franchise too. Much love. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you handing out. Markelle Fultz or Dennis Smith Jr. Between the two, I'd rather have Markelle Fultz. I think Fultz does a little more. I think his upside is higher between the two. I mean, both kind of are lackluster. If I'm being honest, I'd rather give Quincy Olivari an opportunity than those two, but that's just me. Let's see. Sorry, trying to find something to me. Jeremy Grant will be a Laker. I mean, he's the guy that was linked the most this past offseason. At this point, I kind of hope not, but I still think we should go get Zach LaVine. I won't be cat because he's a shiny new toy, but it would be a lot of him. Can't make underhanded layups only overhanded. Dorian Finney-Smith and Dennis are both in the final season of their primes. It would be perfect for a championship team yet, which I think they're going to have some value, which is the problem. Lakers will end up having some issues with that. D'Lo will not get traded because the Lakers would get nothing. I disagree, but I mean, look, time will tell, right? We'll see. Maybe you're right. Wait till the deadline, and AD will be gone and Reeves will be gone. I am very confident that won't happen. But look, if you're right, if the Lakers trade Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves, Unique, you'll be the first person I shout out and go, man, Unique, he was right. He knew exactly what he was talking about. Let's see. Sorry, trying to find something. Me. Stick with the current roster we have for another 2 to 3 months. Don't need any massive trades just yet, unless some really bad losing streak happens. Wait a month after whenever we get Vandal or Woodbay. I mean, look, I've always maintained patience is the right approach, right? Lakers need to remain as patient as possible, right? Like if if there's no deal, don't make a deal, right? I don't want to see the Lakers make a trade just for the sake of making a trade. Like, oh, yeah, we made a trade just to make one, right? I don't want to see that happen. But if a deal's there, you take it. I don't care if it's tomorrow. I don't care if it's, at the trade deadline. If a good offer's there, a good offer's there. Like it's obvious what the Lakers need. We need some perimeter defense, two-way guys, and we need a center, right? And ideally a consistent go-to scorer. Which is why I like LaVine, because he helps with rebounding, playmaking, scoring, and athleticism out on the perimeter. But again, I don't want to see the Lakers go rush to go get, to go get a trade. Kessler is not the answer. By himself, no, Kessler is not the answer. If the Lakers just add Kessler to this team, is the Lakers the best team in the NBA now? No. But it's a step in the right direction, and we start moving there. Let's see. We're better than the Suns when our players actually try. So we're a terrible matchup for Phoenix. Mavs are better than us. Suns are better. OKC's better. Denver's better. I disagree. OKC, again, matchups are you saw it last season in the playoffs. Matchups are a big theme, especially come the playoffs. Lakers, I'm not saying that they sweep OKC. I'm not saying they sweep the Suns, but they definitely beat the Suns, in my opinion. I think that they beat Phoenix in 6 games tops. OKC, I think, would be a much tougher fight, but I would take the Lakers in that matchup. Denver, for whatever reason, we just can't beat Denver. We'll see under JJ Redick if that changes. Mavs, I think we beat Mavs in a 7-game series, although I think that would be a tougher matchup because I do think that they match up better. However, I do think the Lakers can phase them out. Tyler be lying about the Suns. Phoenix can legit beat us in a 7-game series. It will be close, though. I disagree. I think Phoenix gets ran through. I do. I think the Lakers, Phoenix has no defense. We saw it last year, right? They were people were like, oh, they're going to be this, that, and the other. They got to the playoffs and they got swept, right? They don't have size. They don't have the defense, right? They have Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker. Could those 3 just go off against the Lakers? Sure. And beat us, right? I'm not saying Phoenix has no chance, but all things even, right? Unless Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal shoot 80% from the floor, Lakers win that in 6 games. They don't have the size of the matchup. They don't have the defense to stop the Lakers. Lakers get whatever they want. Lakers have dominated that matchup the last 2 years. Since that team's been put together, they've dominated. Dude, the Lakers, LeBron James had his worst game in 20 years. And the Lakers still should have beaten them in Phoenix, right? It's a bad matchup for Phoenix. Let's see. Let's see. Dunn is who Tyler thinks Max is. I mean, we'll see. Dunn is definitely, I don't know if I wouldn't say elite, but he's been very good. He's been very good for them. Elite is a very strong word. Lakers right now need a big man. No AD against Memphis. I still think AD will play that game, but we'll see. Zach LaVine is injured right now. He's dealing with a little knick-knack injury. Every player's dealing. LeBron, AD, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell. They're all dealing with knick-knack injuries right now. Zach LaVine's still playing. He's still looking fantastic. As long as he's still showing up and playing basketball games, that's all I care about. When did he play last? He played yesterday, right? What did he give you yesterday? Yesterday they beat Atlanta, and Zach LaVine put up a. LaVine was 18 points, 7 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 steal. It was a +5. 3 turnovers. Not a big fan of 3 turnovers, but 7 assists, 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio. Shot 58% from the floor, 1 of 5 from 3. Not great, but 7-12 overall. Gave you 18 points. So he basically gave you an average Austin Reeves game, which is a bad game for him. Why do you think Markelle Fultz is not signed to an NBA team? Just is same reason the Lakers want to get rid of everybody. He's not a legit 2-way player. He's very inconsistent. Doesn't give you enough. He's not great at any particular thing, right? Like Cam Reddish, you can argue because he's been like great defensive, right? Jared Vanderbilt is elite defensive, arguably one of the best, if not the best, perimeter defenders in the entire NBA, right? Like if you're just great at one particular thing, you can find a spot. But Markelle Fultz is just another guard in a sea of guards, right? Like is just what it is. I would love to see LaVine without the Lakers giving anything up. That's probably how it goes. Tyler, what do you think? What do you have the Lakers record looking like by the end of the season? I said that they would win 52 games. I said they'd be 52-30. I'm going to stick by it. I'm going to stand by it. Lakers will be 52-30. Is the move? Yes, agreed. Lakers are going all in at the deadline. I think they will too. I know what I'm talking about. It's going to happen again. If you're right, I'll give you the credit. But hey, if you're wrong, though, be a man. Get on here on one of these live streams when we get through the trade deadline and Austin Reeves and Anthony Davis are on the Lakers. I want you to come here. Like I said, I will gladly be like, hey, we had no idea what we were talking about. Unique. He was the only one in the chat that day that knew what he was talking about. But I expect you, if that doesn't happen, to come here and apologize to everyone that you're going after and myself, saying like, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I didn't know what I was talking about. You're speaking in a lot of definitives. So if you're gonna continue to speak in definitives, I need you to own up. I need you to own up to it. All right. Like I said, I will give you all the credit in the world if you're right. They trade Anthony Davis and they trade Austin Reeves, right? Then yeah, especially for you're saying a Chicago back, saying for Vu, Patrick Williams, and Zach LaVine. If that happens, man, like wow. Let's see. Why would we wait till a losing streak? And then that's where I'll be too way last year. We waited all the time, didn't make a move, and we just ain't have enough. We can't rely on players like Vando and Wood because they're not available to play. And on top of that, they still need time to even get back in the swing of things. Yeah, look, like I said earlier, if a trade's there, you take it. You don't play around. If you can find a move, you do it. I don't want to see the Lakers make a move just to make a move. But if a deal is there, you do it. Like I said, don't go nowhere, Unique. Make sure I expect you to man up. We're going to find out if you're an honest person or not. We'll see what happens. Man, I hope we at least make conference finals this year. It'll be LeBron's last season if we win at all. I think no matter what, it's not going to be LeBron's season. I think if the Lakers win the championship, I think even more so it won't be his last, because I think he'll try to go back to back, right? Because then at that point he has a chance for 6. Let's see. You have to give something to get something. Yes, but again, there's value. You're only looking at singular value. Again, there's more to value than just the name on the back of the jersey. You're looking at it through, like I said, a very small peephole. You're looking at things through a very fine lens rather than seeing the full picture, right? It's like looking at a painting and only seeing one grain of the paint and assuming you know the entire painting. Like, it's not how it works. I'm telling you, it's not how it works. But you seem to think you know better than all of us. So, again, if you do, I will give you credit. If I am wrong and the Lakers and the Bulls, if the Lakers trade Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves for Zach LaVine, Vucevic, and Patrick Williams, I will come up here and be like, wow, I am an idiot. Hope Chet, I hope Chet is okay too. Seriously, facts. Let's see. Suns are different this year. I don't think so, but like I said, we'll see. Pistons bench is better. Lakers are literally like last in bench production. Like, it doesn't get worse than that. Lakers are literally 30th in bench production. Let's see. I mean, we can beat the Suns. It took a bad LeBron game for them to beat us by one possession. You still can't guard them though. Yeah. I mean, problem is they're very reliant on jump shooting, right? So you just gotta just keep a distance, protect the paint, play a zone. I trust JJ Redick to know the defensive ways to stop them. How are the Bucks so bad? Because again, they have two stars that don't like. It's a perfect example of you can't just throw names on a jersey and put them together, right? Like Damian Lillard doesn't want to be there. He's made that abundantly clear and public. Him and Giannis don't care to get to know each other. They have no defensive pieces. They're old. Like even before the Dame trade happened. I mean, I talked about it on this channel. I talked about it on the Lakers show. Or not the Lakers show, As It Stands Lakers, I talked about. Like, I thought that they were still going to be bad. Like, they needed youth. They needed to get younger and more versatile. And instead, they went and got an older, declining star, and they traded the wrong guy. They should have traded Chris Middleton and kept Drew Holiday, right? Their biggest mistake was trading Drew Holiday. Because Drew Holiday is literally everything that team needs. Bucks are... I don't know if they do it at this trade deadline, but this is the last season Giannis will be a Buck. Like, I am, like, very confident on that. Again, I could be completely wrong, but I am very confident Milwaukee ends up trading Giannis this offseason. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Should we go after Dame? Personally, I wouldn't. Unless we can get him for, like, a bag of chips. Like if the Bucks are like, hey, we just want to get off of his contract, then sure. Like if no one else is willing to trade for him, I could see Miami still going after Dame. And I think he wants to go there. So I do think Dame would be better with the Lakers. However, you desperately need a healthy Vando at that point. Like desperately. Because like honestly, if we went and got Damian Lillard, I would start Cam Reddish and Jared Vanderbilt. Right, because between Dame, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, you have more than enough offense. Right, like we need to like mask Damian Lillard to the best of our ability. Maybe I wouldn't go that extreme, but you get my point, right? Like you got to have Vando and that healthy Vando in that starting unit, and you got to go like Dame, Vando. I don't know. To my opinion, you got to get another. You got to get like a Dorian Finney-Smith or something like that, and then like a LeBron and AD. Let's see. Do you think Zach LaVine to the Lakers can make some noise? Ty, explain to me this team lacks big man and bench production. So do you think like the trade itself can make some noise? Or do you think, or like what's my overall, like how do I think Zach LaVine impacts the team? Because those are two very different things. Do I think the Zach LaVine trade happens? Yeah. I mean, most insiders have said that that's probably going to happen at some point. Lakers are just being cautious and just trying to be patient and find the due diligence. Like the thing that people need to understand too, Zach LaVine isn't going anywhere. Like teams aren't lining up to trade for Zach LaVine, right? So the Lakers can be patient, and they know Zach LaVine is always going to be there, right? Like he's one of the few moves that, like, you know, because there's always that risk of like, oh man, what if this team ends up taking him? You know, like. I don't think the Lakers, I don't think anybody has that concern with Zach LaVine. So, but Zach LaVine, so you got to look like this. So, what Zach LaVine does, you're basically clearing off D'Lo. Let's just say Zach LaVine straight up. Let's not talk about everything else, right? Because there's a lot of other factors I can go into. But just to simplify it to just Zach LaVine. So you trade Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, right? Gabe Vincent is giving you absolutely nothing. Nothing. Like, you and me could probably pay better than Zach. I mean, well, you're Dylan Brooks, so you definitely can play better than Gabe Vincent, right? Like, but in all seriousness, like Gabe Vincent's giving you nothing. So you're basically looking at it as, does Zach LaVine give you more production than Rui Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell? In my opinion, yes. I think he gives you more consistent offensive firepower. I think he gives you that athleticism that we desperately need. He's a better defender than both of them. He's a better rebounder than both of them. And he can still make plays and operate and do things. One of the best catch and shoot three-point shooters in the entire league. Also, what Zach LaVine does is now it clears 2 extra salary or pieces off your books. So now you can go and take a flyer on like a Quincy Olivari. You can go do other things, but also you get to save all your picks because you're not trading first to go unload Zach LaVine. So now you can make other moves, and you still have several other pieces to then go trade to go make other moves while still having your 2 firsts to facilitate those moves, to facilitate those trades. So that's why. So maybe at that point, maybe you are doing a depth trade, right? Maybe you're taking, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, and whatever else you have left, right? Like in a vet minimum, now it gets you 22 million. Maybe you're getting like 2 guys for the bench role, right? Like whatever. Let's see. I'd rather have Levine than name too. I agree. Levine and Vucevic can look different with the Lakers. I do agree, but not in replace for Anthony Davis. Like you could trade Zach LaVine and Vucevic just straight up for Anthony. Obviously, you can't, but let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say you could replace Anthony Davis for Vu and LaVine. The Lakers are worse. Like, without a doubt. Lakers aren't even a play-in team in the Western Conference. And, you're undervaluing the impact Anthony Davis has. Like, forget about the score. Forget about him leading the league in offense. Just the defense. He is the best defensive player by every metric in the entire NBA. It's why it's criminal the man hasn't won a Defensive Player of the Year award. Lakers go from worst defensive team in the league to middle of the pack just with Anthony Davis. That Zach LaVine and Vu aren't doing that. Could you maybe be overall better offensively? Sure, but you're a worse overall team. I'll admit if I'm wrong. Okay, good. Just making sure. AD and Reeves, they're not. They're not getting traded. But like I said, we'll see. Maybe Unique has some insider trading information we don't know about. Maybe there's something he knows that we don't. And look, if he does, like I said, if I'm wrong and the Lakers trade Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves to Chicago, I mean, this guy get a lot of love and attention. I'll even bring him on the show. He'll be my first guest. I'll even let you be my first guest on this show. if you assuming no one calls at some point, but Vucevic is simply not good anymore. Can't defend. Stone, I've watched enough Bulls game. People overrate Giannis to stay away from them. The reason I like Giannis, though, is because you're looking for him to come off the bench, right? Jonas Valanciunas, you're not looking for him to be this starting level two-way center. You're looking for him to just be a cheap option off the bench that can give you offensive production, kind of fill in a role off the bench. LaVine injury prone. That's a risky trade. I mean, every trade that's available right now is risky. Cam Johnson has only played, the most he's ever played in a season is 66 games. Name me a player. Bruce Brown's hurt right now. Every guy in the league nowadays is injury prone, right? Every guy is a risk. Can't make trades based on risk. But also you look at Zach LaVine's history, right? Because the history is what kind of you're using as data to hopefully predict the future. Okay, well, let's look at it, right? Last year he played 25 games. He was supposed to finish the season. But then the Detroit Piston rumor started, and he was quoting Austin Reeves, I ain't going to Detroit. And all of a sudden he decided, I need to go have surgery. And even Chicago was like, what? You have to have surgery? No one knew he had to have surgery. Yet he went and had surgery, right? Okay, well, let's look at the previous 2 years. He played 77 games, 67 games. I think it was 59 games, 60 games, 60 games. He's averaging the last 7 years, 65 games. There's a reason the NBA has made the threshold 65 games. Why is that? Because that's the average that stars are playing, right? Stars don't, the days of 82 games are to role players and Mikal Bridges, who I think is still a role player. He's just a bigger role player, right? Most stars aren't playing, if any, aren't playing 82 games, right? Most are playing around 60 to 70, right? On a good year, they'll play 75, right? You only need LaVine. As long as LaVine's giving you 65 games a season, you're good. You don't have to worry about it. Is it a risk? Yes, but risk, reward, and again, it's about what's available. I'd love if Giannis tomorrow was I want to be traded and I only want to go to the Lakers. The only team you're going to trade me to is the Lakers. Like, I would love that, but realistically, it's not going to happen. So you just got to look at, like, what are your options? But again, everyone is injury prone. Like, literally. Like, if you're making decisions solely on injuries, you might as well not even make a trade. You might as well just have new players that you draft. You might as well just draft 15 new players every year because they're all, after 1 year, they're all risk to be injured. Tyler, what do you think? What do you want the roster to look like come playoffs in a dream scenario? In a dream scenario? Okay, so my dream scenario would be Walker Kessler, Zach LaVine, and if you can get Io, right? The only reason I'm because I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Because if you get Io, can you still get a Dorian Finney-Smith? Dorian Finney-Smith is making what, $13 million, right? So Zach LaVine, Io, that's $50 million you have to trade, and then and then Kessler is another, let's say 3. So let's call it $65 million to be safe. So you got to send out $65 million in salary. So you got Rui, D'Lo, that's 35.5. So let's just call it 35 million. Gabe Vincent's 11. That gives you 46 million. Say Jared Vanderbilt gets you 46. That's 56 million. Max Christie gets you 63 million. So there you go, right? Like now you're there. What did I say? We needed 65. Okay, and then throw in like a Jackson Hayes. Boom. There you go. Right. So now you got Dorian Finney-Smith, Io, Walker Kessler, Zach LaVine. So you got those 4 guys, but you sent out what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 guys. So 4. You need to clear 1 spot, but you cleared an extra $2.5 million, which you can bring in whoever. Bring in Coloco, bring in Olivari. Ideally, perfect. Best case scenario. Dream scenario. And then I think I'm going to end the stream here because I've been going an hour and a half and I had to work, do stuff. Plus, want to get some good sleep, so hopefully I feel better. But dream scenario, right? Say we get those guys. Now your starting unit looks like LaVine, Reeves, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. And then you have what? You have Io. Yeah, you have Io, Connect, Cam Reddish, Christian Wood, and Kessler. Right? Am I missing anybody? Right? That would be my dream scenario. Like best case scenario, you basically do that rehaul. Boom, boom, boom. And there you go. That's my ideal scenario. And then, all right, this would be the last question because I get asked this a lot. Tyler, what framework for LaVine trade? So basically, assuming the reports are true out of Chicago, they just want to move off his contract. So you're looking at D'Lo, Rui, and then likely Gabe Vincent is probably what it was. Now, maybe you add different pieces. Maybe you like I said, you get an IO, you get something like that, then sure, maybe. But just straight up, let's just say Lakers today, straight up trade. It's Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura for Zach LaVine. You also clear off an extra $3 million that you need because you need to bring in 1 player to fill out the roster because you got to be able to fill out the roster. So now you clear 3 guys, you bring in 1. Now you have 13 players. You have to have at least 14. So now you can bring in that guy. Boom. There you go. Get money. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to get out of here so I can get everything together. But I appreciate you all hanging out with me. Seriously, you guys are awesome. And then, yeah, hopefully we get this win in the next, 3 days? The 13th? Wednesday. So fingers crossed we get it done. But I appreciate you guys. See you in the next.